Welcome to another episode of the Inner Edison Podcast. I'm your host, Ed Parcaut, and today I sit down with Betsy Pepine. She's a realtor, author, and entrepreneur. We're going to unpack the life lessons found in failure, the realities of today's real estate market, and Betsy's journey from breaking out of family expectations to finding fulfillment and sharing her wisdom in her new book, Breaking Boxes. Betsy Pepine, thank you so much for coming on the Inner Edison Podcast. I appreciate you being here today.
Oh, happy to be here, Ed.
Did I get it right?
Yes.
Okay. I try. Inner Edison is actually about your greatest accomplishments come from your greatest defeats. So during that whole process, I explained to people, that we have had failures and we have to talk about them. So I need, a failure from you today of what's happening, because I know you're in real estate. I know you wrote a book. I know you do a bunch of other stuff. And I think it's important for people to understand that it's never clean sailing. It's always issues that come up and you have to deal with and figure it out. One prime example was for me in the last 2 years, as you know, interest rates went through the roof by 5%. And I hadn't seen that in my 27-year history of being in the business. Interest rates going that high. I've only seen them go 1.5% to 2%, nothing higher than that. And then there's always people buying, there's always this, or someone who will do a cash out refinance because it's only a little bit off where it is, but not when it's a 5% difference than what everybody else has. And it really slowed the economy so much that it affected me greatly that for the first year, I will say it, I was pissed because you build an amazing team and then you're like, okay, well, we went down to 35% of existing home sales, and that's nothing for months and months and months when it first happened. And then I was listening to somebody and they said, whenever something happens to me, and this guy was in a wheelchair, he goes, I always say, did it happen to me or for me? And then I started thinking, well, maybe this happened for me for a reason. And then I started doing all my other stuff and finally getting into place and creating all these different things. So you never know. It's how you look at things that happens.
Totally. That's my favorite. I was asked the other day what my favorite mantra is. And that is exactly what you just said. I always say to myself, Betsy, that's happening for you, not to you. And it works wonders. And looking at anything as an opportunity. And anytime the market shifts, there's always opportunities.
Right. Betsy, can you move the mic a little bit closer to you? Because you turn a little bit.
Sorry.
You turn your head this way. That's okay. We all do. It's like people go, how are you so still? I go, you don't see my hands underneath the table. It's moving. That's how you stay still. You have something else move that people can't see. All right. So you're we talked before we started, you're in Florida. Where in Florida?
North Central Florida, a town called Gainesville, Florida, where the University of Florida is. Okay.
So I do a local radio show, which also just turned into a podcast. And we also do a daily podcast, which is in the top 1% of all daily podcasts. And I'm not bragging. I'm just making a statement so I can ask you this question. So we always go around to different places and want to know how the real estate is in those places. And I'm hearing that Florida is kind of having a little slowdown right now. Is that correct?
It is.
If you don't mind talking real estate, I know that's probably not your win on the show today, but
that's what I do every day. So in Florida right now, Miami is really suffering. And we are fortunately 6 hours north of Miami, but we are seeing a slight slowdown, especially in the price points above about 550. But things, 400, 450 and below are still flying off the market. Multiple offers gone in a couple of days. But the higher mid-price and higher price things are sitting longer and longer.
Because I assume the price point that's below that is what most average people want to own. Because that's like our starter home used to be $350 and that's like $475 and you don't want to live in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm in California, by the way. And it's totally, people don't understand. Now, I just saw an article today that Southern California, Northern California, way up north, and then are really hurting, where San Francisco and where I am in the Central Valley is doing amazing. And it is.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are seeing, even though the interest rates are remaining higher than we were hoping this year and probably will remain so, we are seeing buyers for this year, for the first time in a while, understanding that they're not going back down to 2 and 3%. And so they are getting off the sidelines more than we've seen in the last couple of years. So that's been a nice shift.
Yeah, I've seen that too. People realize it, but they're also thinking that it's going to go lower and refinance. And, the only way we'll get back down then, and this, we can talk about anything after this, but I'm just saying, is if if they pay off the debt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the Trump plan, is to get enough money in. They sold 1,000 of those $5 million policies to jump in the front of the line. Well, there's some money right there to pay for off that debt. If we could get that debt down to almost nothing, we'd see 2% interest rates forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way. I'm seeing that, potentially we're going into a recession. Everybody's saying it's because of the tariffs. I didn't care who got into office. We were going into recession because of everything we saw to that point and what they did and spent. You can only spend we're trying to spend our way out of this recession a while back with the last administration. Once that money dries up, there's just nothing you can do. It's over by then.
But I find that people misunderstand a recession with regards to how it impacts housing. When you look at they don't get it. When you look at the last 5 or 6 recessions, obviously the most recent one, that was an anomaly, and that was caused by the predatory lending practices, which have gone by the wayside.
You're talking about 2006.
Yes, but
but the last recession actually was 2020 through 2022 was the last recession. People don't understand that we were in a recession when they shut down the country. That is a recession, and that one real estate went through the roof.
Right, and everyone prior, since recorded history, except for one, did the housing prices not appreciate?
Yeah, there's
when they didn't appreciate, it only depreciated by 1.5%. So just because even if the economy goes into a recession, it doesn't mean the housing market is in a crisis.
Right. And I want to, so in the 2006 to 8, whenever you want to say, because we went in a little bit later and some people went in sooner.
Yeah.
That technically was a depression, but they recategorized it and just left it the same thing they just did in this last administration, where it was like, well, this would be, no, we're not there. We changed that. We don't look at that number as for a recession. We look at different. Well, back in 2006, they said the same thing, or 2008, we're not in a depression, even though it's 2 quarters of GDP negatively, whatever, then that's the definition, but they changed the definition to suit themselves. So that one, you can't really count that one because it really wasn't it was what they called the Great Recession. Well, it was really, if it's a Great Recession, then it's really a depression, a normal depression. If you go, so like, you're right. But if you go back into like 91, I think was the only other time where, and most of it was flat. If you look, nationwide might have went down, like you said, but in states like California and other places, it didn't. It was, there was also one other thing that was going on at that time, and that was the savings and loan fiasco. So you had a major savings and loan issue. And then what did we have in 2008? We had a major bond issue. It wasn't predatory lending. It was the bond agencies rating the bonds wrong. Instead of rating them, so they rated them all A+ paper when they should have been rated at a D or a D-. Because if you watch The Big Short, it explains totally what they did and how they rated everything wrong, and how they would take bad loans and re-put them in these packages and resell them to investors. And then that's how they moved them. Well, that's where the problem was. The fact that they were selling those, pick a pay to everybody who walked in with a W-2. So pick a pay originally started from World Savings, which was they only sold it to business owners, because business owners don't always know what their paycheck is every month. So it allowed you one month, hey, you didn't get enough in, just make that minimum payment. The big guys, Countrywide, WAMU, all the ones who aren't here anymore, they were like, hey, let's do this for everybody. Yeah, because wage earners don't know what their paycheck is every month. Yeah, whatever. And so, and that's, and then it was like, well, stated income, well, and all that stuff. And with only stated income now is for investment properties. And then they have that DSCR loan that's for investors also, which that's a scary one for me. I do it for my investors because they want it, but it just seems like they're going to be buying a bunch of properties and then somebody else is going to be buying those properties.
Yeah.
Do we have enough real estate already and mortgage stuff? I don't know. Do we? Because I could talk.
We're seeing a lot of fraud and AI. We had one. I don't know if you guys are seeing this in California, but it's really interesting. Even at, we have the title fraud and people selling vacant land when they don't even own the land. But the latest one was a closing where it was an AI, it was a remote closing on Zoom, and the person was AI generated and was going to sign the papers. And it was flagged. The agent thought something was amiss and asked the supposed seller to stand up and turn around, and they couldn't the AI person couldn't do that, and they shut down the closing. But that's scary to me. I love AI. I use it every day, but it's getting harder and harder to identify what's fraud and what's not.
You had an AI signing?
They had apparently an AI signing. And
I mean, signing so in California, we can't do virtual signings.
Florida, we can
for purchases. Now, refinances can be done as long as the notary is not in California. Figure that out. No, yeah. Notaries in California can't do virtual signings till 2030.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So I do a lot of business with UWM as a broker, and they created this Track Plus, and then you have to use their virtual, which is amazing. It's so amazing. And I do a lot of virtual signings for refinances and stuff. And it's like, I can just come in here for 10 minutes. The signing's so fast because people know what it is.
Yeah.
On purchases is different,
Yeah.
I feel that eventually they're going to come into where everybody still has to go back for a purchase. Want to see everybody and making sure it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's because the only fraud we've seen lately is even almost happened to one of my clients where somebody got the information from the title company or the real estate agent's email, and then was like, okay, send in your money to title, and they had the title, everything right and everything. And I was talking to him, he goes, yeah, we got the information from title, send it in. I called escrow just to verify something else, and they're like, we have not sent them anything, and they called and stopped everything. So
good.
You got to be really careful. Yeah. Because there was some people in San Diego lost like almost $700,000 from what, they saved all their money, saved it to buy a house, and then wired it to the wrong place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, there is a lot of fraud out there, but there's also, the title fraud is people, you hear the title lock and all that stuff. The problem with that is it doesn't protect you. It just sends you a notice that somebody recorded something on your property.
Right. Yeah. Usually after the fact.
And that's like, okay, you're selling this as title lock, meaning that nobody can touch it. It's like credit. When people have credit lock, nobody can run your credit. Well, why don't they really have a title lock that nobody can do anything on the title until you release it? Yeah. And I think blockchain would be the first thing, something like that, to protect it.
Yes.
And that's what we think eventually when they get to that kind of stuff, then that's anyway. Anything else going on in Florida that's different?
No, we were impacted, by the NAR settlement in August.
Yeah, everybody was. But,
yeah.
But see, with us, I think the whole thing. Now, how did that affect people paying commission?
So
a lot of. Let me just finish one last thing. So we only saw maybe a handful of deals where the seller wouldn't pay the buyer's commission.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing. Sometimes we're seeing it, they're paying a little bit less, they're offering a little bit less out, but virtually every seller is still offering out what they were offering out before. It didn't change things. It changed some paperwork, but the outcomes, it really hasn't changed much of the outcomes.
Yeah, well, it just made people get their contracts better.
I agree. And also, for me, I actually, like we talked about earlier, I view market changes as opportunities, and I saw it as a great opportunity because if you knew how to sell your value as a buyer agent, you weren't scared at all. But if you did not understand how to sell your value, then you were very scared. And a lot of agents have left the industry, I think, because they realized they couldn't sell their value. But if you know how to sell your value as a buyer agent, that should have helped you and created an opportunity for you to even make more money than you did in the prior environment, because then you could say what you charge, whereas before you were just taking what was being offered.
Right. And as inventory increases, because right now we only have 750,000 inventory nationwide, which normally at this time we have like 1.1 million. Until that gets back to a normal market, it's still a seller's market.
Right.
And in some places like Florida, where you're saying you have more on the market, because I think you guys have a third of all homes that are on the market nationwide right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and Texas is getting close behind because they're having, you guys have insurance issues. We're in California, we have fire, right? Fair plan.
Yeah.
But the most you see a policy, even on an amazing mansion in a burn area, that could max out at maybe 9,000 if you're even close. But the average in a fire area is like $3,000 for us.
Oh,
For
wow.
you guys, your average policy could be 14 grand a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's becoming crazy. And you have to replace a roof. You can have a 30-year, roof. And after 15 years, if you're trying to sell your house, you got to replace it because you're not going to get insurance if you have a 15-year-old roof.
Because of the hurricanes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. And then you guys have a bunch of condos in certain areas that all have to be retrofitted. And those are,
I've got some stuff at the beach, just personal stuff that I rent out. And one had a $40,000 assessment, one had a $20,000 assessment. And then the ones in Miami, they're even more. Yeah.
Wow. And I mean, and a lot of them went on the market. I was hearing some people who like it. If it was worth 600, they were dropping it for 400 just to get rid of it because they couldn't afford the assessment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I tell everybody, I also saw some numbers today about New York lost 14 billion in income to Florida.
Oh, wow.
125,000 people who left was 14 billion in income.
Wow. Wow.
So Florida got 14 billion of income.
Yeah. Most go south, but
what we're trying to talk about, and this Inner Edison is usually about, business and failures and stuff. And what I'm trying to get at is investing, passive income is also a business that people have messed up in the past, because a lot of people owned homes in 2006 and 2008 lost all their real estate. And then there's people now who are losing their apartment complexes because they didn't buy them back during the pandemic with the Fannie Mae 4.75 rate. They bought them with adjustables, and now they don't pencil now. And so there's a lot of opportunity, like you said originally, in any issue, anything that comes up, there's an opportunity there. You just have to find it.
Yeah, exactly.
So are you, all right, let's talk about your book, or what else do you want to talk about? So what got you to write a book? All right. So most people like you, I think when we first started talking, we were saying how most people like you wrote a book about real estate, like, I did. And you said, no, you wrote a totally different book. Mm-hmm. And what got you to go down this line to actually write a book?
I wrote the book because I was going through a period of my life where I was starting to question things and feeling unhappy. And through several years of exploration and a variety of different modalities, realized the source of my unhappiness was this feeling of confinement and being put in boxes that I didn't believe served me or aligned with who I was. And when I shared my stories with others, everyone was like, oh my gosh, let me tell you about my story. And a lot of them were stuck and they couldn't figure out how to negotiate their way out of a box that no longer served them. So I wrote the book because my mission in life is to improve and empower the lives of others. And I thought, gosh, if I could just influence one person to make a move towards exiting a box that is no longer serving them, then it'll be worth the while. So that's why I wrote the book. And like you said, it has nothing to do with real estate. It was really a passion project of mine.
Now, when you talk about boxes, explain that a little bit.
These are the opinions, beliefs, attitudes of others, whether it's our family of origin, whether it's our gender, our industry, the roles we play. What does it mean to be a good mom or a good dad or a good husband or a good wife? These boxes come at us from a variety of different angles because we are a social species. And because we are a social species, we want to fit in, but at some point it can create, I think, harm for us and knock us out of alignment. And that's what I felt like it was doing for me. I had tremendous pressure in my family to be in a different industry. They didn't understand entrepreneurship. They didn't value entrepreneurship. It would have been equivalent to me like dropping out of school and living off the streets. That's kind of what they thought when I told them I was going to not pursue a degree as a physician and go into the business arena. But anyway, I speak about a lot of different boxes.
Betsy. So you were supposed to be a physician?
I was. My
family is, so everybody in your family is a physician or something like that?
Yeah. My twin sister is, my older sister is, their husbands are, my dad is. I grew up working alongside my dad in the hospital. It was just assumed that we were all going to be pre-med, which we were, and then we were all going to follow in his footsteps. And it was it was very crushing for them when I told them that I wasn't going to pursue that.
And what changed your mind not to go that route?
Oh gosh, because I grew up working in the hospital setting and I hated it. And so then I went to college and I was pre-med and I hated the science classes. And so junior year of college, I told my parents I was dropping out of the pre-med track and going to pursue business. But I actually ended up getting an MBA in healthcare management and marketing and spent a decade in the pharmaceutical industry, really to just placate the desire or the pressure I felt to be in the healthcare industry. And it wasn't until we talked earlier, it wasn't until an unexpected divorce and a corporate layoff in a very short period of time that I thought, wait a minute, something's not working in my life here. I need to really pursue what I truly believe I was meant to be, and that is an entrepreneur. I showed those signs at a very early age and just really wanted to try it out. And so that's what made me pivot.
And how long you been an entrepreneur?
My mother would say since I came out of her womb, since the 4th grade. I was doing business, like little things, but businesses since the 4th grade.
And you still went down the other path. Maybe you could have created a pharmaceutical company or something.
I could have.
They would have been happy then.
I could have.
But I mean, you have to go, and this is the same thing I talk to people about, is you got to know who your perfect client is. You also have to know who you like, what you want to do, and who you want to work with. Yeah. And everybody calls their perfect client these days avatars. When I hear avatars, I think on their gaming or something. Mm-hmm. I'm still old school. I'm in Zig Ziglar school. I prefer just to say your perfect client, so there's nobody will have a problem with what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And so much that I interviewed a guy on one of these shows, Inner Edison, and he was talking about your customer's journey and all this stuff. And I ended up editing that whole podcast and creating a prompt from ChatGPT on how to help you. And when you're whatever it is, it finds who your borrower's story is. Mm-hmm. It talks about your borrower's journey, and then it also helps you write your call to actions that aren't yelling at people. They're a way to get them to come along with you. And I'm not trying to sell it. I came up with it, and it changed everything I do.
Wow. I love it. And I love a lot of people use AI to create content, but I love using AI to be my strategic partner. So I give it a role, like you're going to be my board of directors. And then I give them the scenario. And that's a great way. I love what you just said and how you used it. Wonderful application of AI.
Well, yeah. And so I've created so many GPTs because I've been using it since November of 22 when I first came out. Most people had no idea what it was. And I would tell agents, you can have this thing write all your descriptions for your property and everything else and your ads and everything. You just create a GPT and here you go. Yeah. And I use it for my daily show. I use it for my podcast. I just, what used to take me daily in the morning, 2 hours to write the show that we do for 15, 20 minutes, now it takes me less than a minute.
Oh, it's so great.
And stuff like that. It's important to help you do that. And when we had our event last weekend, Operation Firewalk, I ended up having it, and it was my after action report. I just had it open. I'd say something into it, save it, boom. And then I told it after I got done, I wanted it to compile all my things into my after action report. And it was just so much easier. Yeah. And now I have, like I told you originally, I have these VAs in a pod, and when they get done doing something, and for me to type, I'm a speaker. I am not a typer. Mm-hmm. And so I can now, on this page, blah, 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 and whatever it is. And then when it's done, I just copy them and send it to them. Mm. And then we're done. It just makes it so much easier. I can get my stuff done so much faster.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. And if you ever need, I look, so it's level 9 virtual, love them to death. They have this pod. So you have a 20-hour or 40-hour pod. Mm-hmm. One's 500 and one's like 697 for the 40-hour. For most people, that's enough. Mm-hmm. My first month, I went through almost 4 pods.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What's it called? Level 9 what?
Level 9 virtual.
Okay.
I had stacked up so much stuff, that I needed to do. And I kept saying I need to do this. Like I created a podcast course.
Oh, wow.
I needed to create the landing page, all that stuff. And I know high level and stuff, but it's like having the time to do everything. I needed, the graphics for my books. They did that. I needed lead magnets for my website. They created, I gave them the idea and they created stuff that I was just shocked how amazing it was. I'm like, I'll never waste my time again.
I love it.
I created a logo for my Operation Firewalk through ChatGPT, and then gave it to them to make some other stuff from it. But it's just, there's so many ways to do stuff so much faster. That I'm like, wow, I can do this, and so much that when they get back to me about something, maybe a week later, right after, because it's 24 to 40 hours, I'll work on it. And I might okay, I won't touch it because I have this to, and by the time I get back, I'm like, oh, what was I doing on this project? It just gets, so for most people, they won't have that problem. But they even could do, podcast editing, all the video editing, stuff like that. But I use Opus Clips and I use Cast Magic for both those things.
Nice.
But Level 9 Virtual, I was told about them a year ago, but never did anything with it because wasn't ready at the time, for what I was trying to do. And now it's like I'm trying to get caught up. I even created this so I have Inner Edison, Helping the Brave. I also have, what else do I have? I have Real Estate Jerky, which is my local radio show I've been doing since 2018. We give you something to chew on. Right. I have all my products for those three things, plus Operation Firewalk, plus I created a bunch of veteran inspired shirts. I had them create a store for me. And then they did all the product for it. They created I came up with the sayings because it's stuff I've had, and they could design it. What I'm getting at is you're, again, like ChatGPT, you're only limited by what you ask it.
Right.
You ask. That's awesome. And same with these pods, you're only limited by what you ask them to do and how they do it. And I have now worked out to where I have a SOP, standard operating. I tell them what I want done, and I have, of course, Chad, my assistant. That's ChatGPT. Chad now. I tell him what I'm looking to do, and he writes it up, and we send it over to him. So there's no question what we're trying to do.
Love it.
Yeah, because I figure the numbers are with the 40-hour. It's like $17 an hour. I did this amazing website, Helping the Brave, for the veterans benefits, all these different pages, everything. I think it took them 5 hours to do it. Think about that. Yeah. Where if you went with somebody, so what happened was, are you okay with this topic?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I was about you, but so what happened was where was I going with that one?
The pod and the 7, it took 5 hours to build the website.
So what a lot of all the agencies, right? You've heard of Go High Level and all the different people selling it with and they all have an agency, all that. Well, those agencies use that Level 9 Virtual.
Oh, wow.
And so the guy was like, yeah, why don't you guys just go direct? Why do you use an agency that's going to go out of business in a month or two, where you could just go with it? So what happens is, they charge you $5,000 for a website or $10,000, whatever. And then they have them do it, which takes them even if it took them 20 hours, that's $579.
Wow. Okay. I got to check this out. Level 9 Virtual.
Yeah. Okay. And just tell them I send them to you.
Okay.
When you get there. Yeah. So just go online. And they have a full-time, they have a part-time, but then those people only do one thing. I want a pod to where I wanted some copywriting done. I want, I need some deck cards made for my courses. For my presentation when I'm doing my courses and recording it. I don't want to have to create it. I want to do it, but I had them create it. So it just makes it easier. And then I recorded a video and they put in all the B-roll plus the different deck cards in it for me for my websites. And a couple hours.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just putting it out there. If you guys use Level 9 Virtual, level9virtual.com, go there. If you use them, just tell them I sent you, just because they know it. I don't get a spiff. I didn't ask to sign up for affiliate or that kind of stuff. I really like them, and that's why I promote them.
Perfect. Will do.
Changed my life, I'm telling you. And a friend of mine who sent them to me because he used them forever, and he's like, now, do you feel like you can get a lot more done? And all these ideas keep popping up. I go, yeah, too much. This is what the problem is. Now you have too many ideas, too many this, can get it done. And then what do you do? Because you can get it done. Like I created, so in the military, you have a boot camp when you go in. And one of the guys I interviewed 2 years ago through my Rotary, because I was president of my Rotary in my year, and I wanted to do more for vets. I see your dog. That's okay. My American Bully's down here snoring. You just can't hear him. I brought in this guy who helped veterans who never to go back into prison because he was in prison for 23 years. And then he created a program for that vets never to do it, got funded by the governor in California. And he created this program when he was saying how we need a boot camp out. And I brought that up a few other times. And then I said it this last weekend at my event. And as I was talking about it, somebody else on our after action report with one of the other guys who's been helping me with this thing forever, he goes, we need to create this whole thing. Well, I had already started it that weekend and did all the stuff and sent it to the pod, and they're creating it right now. So it's amazing how much faster you can be ahead of the game because of that. And I mean, if you need somebody, they'll even upload your book to Amazon, whatever it is.
Right. I love it. Love it. It's your who's. Yeah. I'd say Who Not How. I don't know if you've read that book.
Yeah.
Book, but it's your who's. Yeah.
Because you don't have to train them. You have a project manager who does all. You talk to that person, and then I have a weekly call with him. I missed it yesterday because we got tied up with something else, but we go over everything. And then if we need something, we jump on a Zoom real quick about it. And they handle the other people and send the stuff to you and make sure it's overseen and everybody's done on it. So bottom line of my story is don't wait. Get somebody to help you. And for $700 or $600 a month, it's cheap. It start with 20 hours, start with 40. They're actually working a deal for me right now for 100 hours a month. Wow. Yeah, because I had a full-time on staff dude helping me with YouTube when I first started, before he got hit in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, full-time on staff doing all my YouTube stuff. And I mean, we grew that channel pretty good over the 8 months that we did it, but then it has just been sitting there because I haven't spent the time to do it. And I was at an event the other week and they were like, focus on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about the other channels because YouTube, and this is my take on it, because I was telling other people, well, eventually Google, you won't have ads, because in the chat GPT world and those type of world, I use it all, I don't Google anything anymore. I chat everything. I needed a part for my plantation shutters and I found it on Google a long time ago, but I couldn't find it again. So I took a picture of it, uploaded it to chat GPT, told it to find it for me and then where to go to get it. And in seconds it had that thing and I was able to order it. We added more concrete in front of our house and we had this post in the old one. I took a picture of it and I sent it up to ChatGPT. How do I get rid of this post? And it gave me 3 options on how to do it. And one of those is we're in the works right now.
So how do you, I just sent this question to the gentleman who does our GLS stuff for us, Google Local Service and all the Google stuff. And I said, I'm now more concerned. I want to be AI optimized, not Google optimized. And how do you feel like you as an entrepreneur, can you make sure that your businesses stay at the forefront in AI? So if they're not going to use Google anymore, they're going to use AI. How do you make sure that you stay on top?
Then, because you have to have it made so it would be picked up by the AI, and people go, well, what is that? It's some of the because I was at an event, Driven Mastermind, which these people pay a ton of money to be in this thing, and I was invited as a guest. And I was talking to someone. I said, "Are these Google agencies going to be around with all these leads that they keep trying to sell us?" And he goes, "I don't really know." I said, "Well, how are they going to compete against ChatGPT, where it only gives you 1 to 2 choices? That's it. It doesn't. There's no sponsors or any of that kind of stuff."
Yeah.
And he's like, "That's the number one question." But one of the things is that here's the easiest answer, Betsy. Ask it how to make sure your business is be picked by it, because they were like, we don't really know. And they were telling me a schema and different thing, which is the old local business information on your website that needs to be right. But and there's so many other things you can do. Like the big thing is having your Google page right. That kind of your actual Google ads, not your ads page, but your Google page actually up and running. Right. And there's stuff you can do on your website and blogs. And one of the biggest things is LinkedIn posts, not posts, but not newsletters, but or the articles. Upload articles to LinkedIn, not posts, but articles. And so then when they were telling me all this stuff and they couldn't give me an answer, I went and asked Chad. I said, how do I make sure my business is bombing? And it told me the schema, the basic stuff. And then it gave me all these other things. So I would just ask it, hey, this is my business. How do I make sure that when somebody asks certain things from you, that I could be there?
Yeah. Love it. Okay.
Because one of the guys that was at the event, he was a plastic surgeon, and he had just got picked by somebody who searched him through ChatGPT.
Yeah. Well, and we searched and we did come up on top, but I'm like, okay, we've done nothing. Like, I don't know how it got there, but I want to make sure we stay there. So that's great. I never thought that.
We're limited by ask it. Why not ask it?
Yeah.
And remember, there's 5 different ones out there searching. So the question is going to be, who's going to be the winner and how is it going to work?
Yeah.
But it's because everything's hyper local now. Everything's no longer big nationwide brands. It's all local brands and local stuff. People want to know who you are because of like we talked about early on, the fraud, the AI, all that different things.
Yeah.
Because people can talk now and you don't know it's AI. I still can hear it because I can. Someone go, can you listen? Oh, you can tell it's not I can tell. I can hear the difference in the tones and inflections and that because I sold by the phone for 18 years. I can listen. I know how to listen. That's the difference. I have headphones on so I can make sure that you sound well. I catch stuff that other people have no idea is wrong. And I'm like, oh, by the way, your mic's not on. You're not on the right mic. What are you talking about? Oh my God, you're right. Yeah, well, because I can hear the echo. I can hear this. If I didn't have headphones on, I would not be able to hear that.
Yeah.
All right, Betsy, where can they find your book at?
So my website, betsypepine.com. It's also on Amazon.
That's Pepine.
Correct.
I mean, everybody knows how to spell Pepine.
And it's also on just all the major book retailers, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books A Million.
And and the name of the book again?
The name is Breaking Boxes, Dismantling the Metaphorical Boxes That Bind Us.
That's the full name? Or Breaking Boxes and that extra?
Breaking Boxes, and then the subtitle is Dismantling the Metaphorical Boxes That Bind Us.
Right. Okay. And then you also have a Breaking Free Toolkit?
Yes, it's on my website, and we're also launching a course any day now. So the course will be.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
Before you go, I'm going to ask you, where are you housing your course at?
My who? I hired a who? I don't know. I mean, it's not my field at all. I had to just record the course, so they're handling it all. So I don't know where it's actually residing.
I'm just curious. Well, because there's so many different places now. I'm going to be probably, so I have a high level on everything, but from what I'm hearing, a lot of people are liking school a lot more than anywhere else, just because of Alex Hormozy, what he's done for school since he acquired it, and just made some lot changes to make it better and everything else. High level is amazing, but the thing is, how are you everything to everyone? And that's what High Level's been trying to do. And they've been doing a really good job at it. It's like their store that I created. There was a good store, but there's certain limitations. So I'm not only going to have my store on shop at edparcaut.com, but I'll also put out all my products through Shopify and Etsy and everywhere else, just because I don't know if you know anything about print on
demand.
Thank you. Easy for me to say today. It's like an $8 billion business right now, but it's going to like 36 and plus more. And Printful is a great place to go. There's a lot of other ones, but you set it up there, then it goes directly to your store, and it's just easy. So why not do it? And people can buy 1 or 2 things. You don't have to house them. You don't have to have them places. And it's pretty quick it takes a week to get the product. I mean, it ships out in 2 days. They print it, ship it out, and embroider it, everything.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be, if you're trying to build your own personal brand and have stuff for it, because I buy other people's t-shirts and I'm like, I'm tired of it. I like my sayings better. I mean, I came up with, it's like, I'm not mean. I'm just mission focused. Because Chat asked me a while back when I did an update, is like, what does somebody not know about you when you were in 6th grade? I'm like, go away. And then it came back, asked me, what did most people get wrong about you? I'm like, that I'm mean. Because people think because I don't smile, well, thank my dad for beating the shit out of me. But, you know, and being in the military, but that's just not something that happens all the time. And so I said that, and it was like, so I came up with the slogan, I'm not mean, I'm just mission focused. And then and then a bunch of others, I asked some other stuff, and because I do helping the brave, and it came up with helping the brave, not the comfortable, and just stuff. I'm like, that would be amazing t-shirts. And I don't see that stuff out there that I see out there that I want. And so I created a whole line for Inner Edison, a whole line for helping the brave, and a whole line for real estate jerky. And my real estate jerky stuff is like, I was flipping before it was cool. That's one of them. I'm like, that is perfect, man. I love it. And that's so true, right? Everybody's like, I'm a flipper now. It's like a little past tense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, so I came up with a bunch of different stuff. I'm like, these are amazing shirts that people potentially, I don't care if people buy it. I like it. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to wear it because I'm going to be buying. If I'm going to buy someone's shirt, I might as well buy mine.
Yeah. I love it. Love it.
All right, Betsy, I appreciate you being on the show and let me just talk and you talk and everything about it. And if they're in Florida looking for a house, besides your book, how do they find you? So just still go to your same website if they want to talk to you about real estate.
Real estate is my last name, Pepine Realty, and you can find me there.
Okay. .com.
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure. All right, Betsy, thank you so much for being on the show today. Really appreciate getting to know you. Thank you for telling your story.
Thank you, Ed.
My pleasure. Stay right there. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Inner Edison Podcast. I want to thank our guest today, Betsy Pepine. We explored overcoming setbacks, navigating the change in the real estate market, and Betsy's journey breaking out of life's boxes. Don't forget to check out her book, Breaking Boxes, and visit pepinerealty.com. If you're in Florida, until next time, remember, your greatest accomplishments come from your greatest failures.